अभिषेक वो मुझे पैक करके देना। चलो, टेल मी डेफिनेशन ऑफ स्लम। सेंसस का डेफिनेशन ऑफ स्लम। इलीगल नहीं है स्लम्स। घर की छत नहीं होती। मैं ये पीपीटी शेयर कर दूंगा गवर्नमेंट का। Defined as a residential area where dwellings are unfit for human habitation by the reasons of dilapidation, overcrowding, faulty arrangement and the design of such buildings, narrowness or faulty arrangement of streets, lack of ventilation, light or sanitation facilities, or any combination of these factors which are determined by the safety and health. This is the census definition of a slum. So you don't have to remember as it is unfit for human habitation because of overcrowding, lack of sanitation facilities, narrow bylines, and unfit for health as well as habitation. How many types of slums are there in India? There are basically 3 types of slums: notified slums, recognized slums, identified slums. Notified slums are those which are notified by the district administration, by the state administration, or by the local government of a region. Notified, this area is notified as a slum region. So it is recognized slums. Recognized, they are not notified, but they are recognized by the state government, administration, local government, fine, but have not been notified. And तीसरा है which are illegal, and these are known as the squatter settlements. This is a compact area of at least 300 population and about 60-70 households of poorly built, congested houses in unhygienic environment. Which काम का नहीं है? This is important. Out of 4,000 statutory towns in India, that is the notified towns in India, in the census 2011, 63% of the towns in India have slums, right? Total slum blocks, total slums in the countries is about 1.8 lakh. Itna hai total slums. And the largest number of slum is in Maharashtra, Dharavi. If you look at the identified slums are 37% illegal slums, notified and recognized will be 28% and 34% respectively. Now, when we look at the slums, thoda data change karna padega, is when we look at the slums in the million plus cities, 52, slums in the other cities, 85. Number of slum household in terms of percentage. So, out of the total urban household, if the urban household are 100, उसमें से slums के household कितने होंगे? इसलिए ये टॉपिक मैं ले रहा हूँ, नहीं तो पढ़ाता भी नहीं. So when we consider the number of total urban households to the number of slums in India, which state is having highest number of slums? And the result will surprise you. Andhra Pradesh. Percentage of slum household to the urban households, the highest number of slums, 35% of the total urban population to the slum population is Andhra Pradesh, उसके बाद छत्तीसगढ़, उसके बाद मध्य प्रदेश, उसके बाद उड़ीसा and West Bengal, and the least number of slums in Chandigarh, Gujarat, Jharkhand, Assam, Kerala. Manipur does not have any slum, Dadra Nagar Haveli does not have any slum, Diu Daman does not have any slum, Lakshadweep does not have any slums. And इसीलिए ये map is very important. This is what your examiner will look at you. जो बिना पढ़े जाएगा slums, वो mark करेगा highest. उधर ही 0 marks. ये है states जिसमें there is highest number of slums. Fine. Second, third, fourth, जिसमें least number of slums. Getting it? And if we look at the population of the metros, then the picture is different. When we look at the 4 major million plus cities in India, these are the million plus cities in India: Mumbai, Kolkata, Chennai, Delhi and Bangalore. जिसका population is, so out of the million plus cities in India, highest number of slums are in Mumbai, right? कितना percentage? 44% of people in Visakhapatnam live in the slums out of all the metros. Yeah. Third is Mumbai. So Asia's largest slum is Dharavi, GS. But optional में जब है तो you have to do with the help of data. Fine. So Visakhapatnam, Jabalpur and then Mumbai. And what are the problems of the slums? So this is the new map. Fine. Structures, permanent houses, permanent slums सबसे ज़्यादा is in Orissa and this Chhattisgarh region. But ये हमारे map कुछ काम का नहीं. What are the problems of the slums? इतना डिटेल में करने की ज़रूरत नहीं. They have given, census has given how many number of married couple live in the urban slums, in the slums, how many household, 1 member का household कितना है, 2 member का कितना है, 9 and above members का कितना है, 6 to 8 members का कितना है. So maximum it is around 6 to 8 members live in single household in a slum. Problem थोड़ा अलग points. Majority of the slums have drinking water premises within them, but they are single water premises and therefore line लगती है. But even 28% of slums in India, fine, or sorry, 43% of the slums in India have tap connection outside them. ये data लिखो. Water supply. Lightning. Numerous slums, 10% of the slums in India use other sources of lighting. Solar बहुत कम होगा, obviously. It will be mostly kerosene and therefore leakages through PDS system. Bathing facility obviously है घर में, but even 19% of Indian slums do not have any toilet or bathing facility inside. Majority of the slums in India have open drainage system, 44%, and therefore problems of sanitation. This is important. 66% out of 81% are, we say ये data has changed now. 2011 census का data है. After that it has changed, but you can still say 66% of the slums or 70% of the slums have latrine or toilet, but 30% do not have latrine. And see, open defecation can be a problem in the villages, but it surely is a problem in the urban area. Villages में it is washed away, it is removed. It is covered, it can be used as a fertilizer, but in the urban area, open defecation creates a problem. I'll show you the data. Second October 2019, fine. Government के claims छोड़ो. कहाँ गया? जिनके घर ही नहीं उनको कहाँ पे ओपन डेफिकेशन, उनको टॉयलेट्स ही नहीं है. Government is hoping that they are using public toilets. ये तो टोटली गवर्नमेंट को क्रिटिसाइज करने के लिए है. Still 10% of the villages in India are not open defecation free. This is the first level verification of 90% are open defecation free, but still the 10% of the villages in India are not open defecation free. But we will not %100% open defecation has been stopped in these villages. 80% to 20% in these villages and 0% is in these villages. But हमें इतना वायर का डेटा नहीं यूज करना है. वायर is too much against the government. Fine? Yes. So urban India will be declared open defecation free on October 2, 2019. Still, 40 local bodies of West Bengal have not been certified. Despite this, so don't go by data of government. Open defecation is a challenge and you can use anyone data out of that. अब data ढूंढना is a challenge. Fine? उसके बाद Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Orissa, Goa and West Bengal have been the slow starters. They have not yet. But in the last 1 year, UP, Bihar, Orissa and Goa turned around the program and achieved good result. Goa, which did not finalize the design of its community toilets till June, has already been certified as an open defecation free. मतलब गोवा में अभी तक टॉयलेट्स दिए नहीं गए properly, but still it has been declared as an open defecation free village. BJP government है, state government. Getting it? So अब इसके अंदर का पॉलिटिक्स छोड़ो. विल टेक सिंपल स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ द आंसर फॉर द स्लम्स. फाइन. वी विल नॉट गो इनटू डिटेल्स. वी विल जस्ट कीप इट इन द टर्म्स ऑफ द आंसर राइटिंग. सो स्लम्स डेफिनेशन. Slums are buildings or group of buildings. Slums are buildings or group of buildings characterized by overcrowding, deterioration, insanitary conditions, absence of amenities or facilities, facilities, which endangers the health, safety and morals of the inhabitants. Which endangers the health, safety and the morals. You may pass your question, Balbir. Health, safety and morals of inhabitants or community. ब्रैकेट में यूनेस्को. डेफिनेशन यूनेस्को का है. इट इज बेटर देन सेंसस का डेफिनेशन. Why it is better than census का definition? Because उसमें third factor is there, that is the moral values. सेंसस का डेफिनेशन याद रखने की जरूरत नहीं. Slums in India are known by different names. Slums in India are known by different names such as Basti in Kolkata, in Bengal, Bastis in Bengal, Jhopadpatti in Mumbai, Juggi in Delhi, etc. They are the integral part of Indian urbanization. They are the integral part of Indian urbanization. Integral part of Indian urbanization. Next, the 2001 census. The 2001 census has classified the slums. Has classified the slums into one, notified slums, bracket में notified by the state government, notified slums, notified by the state government, recognized slums, and identified slums. Unidentified slums. You can draw this diagram. Identified at 36.3, notified at 36.1. I have taken the, you can say, around number 36, 36, 28. Causes. आइडेंटिफाइड मतलब आइडेंटिफाई हुआ ये स्लम है, बट इसको गवर्नमेंट ने रिकॉग्नाइज नहीं किया है. गवर्नमेंट ने रिकॉग्नाइज नहीं किया है इसलिए उसमें बिजली पानी सब इलीगल है, कुछ नहीं है उधर. जहाँ रिकॉग्नाइज किया है वहाँ पे गवर्नमेंट को देना पड़ेगा बिजली पानी का सोर्स, बेसिक एमिनिटीज देनी पड़ेगी. नोटिफाइड मतलब तो वो एरिया स्लम्स है वो नोटिफाई है गैजेट में गवर्नमेंट के. रिकॉग्नाइज्ड एंड नोटिफाइड आर हैविंग द सेम लेवल. नोटिफाइड कि उनको ज़मीन के कागजात भी उनके पास है. When we say slum rehabilitation is happening in India, it can occur only in the notified slums, because then you should know who owns the land. So notified में they are the owners of the land. Identified and recognized में they are not the owners of the land. इसलिए slum rehabilitation fails in India. So what Delhi government is doing right now, it is notifying this, it is giving recognition to this. क्यों? क्योंकि अगले साल दिल्ली का इलेक्शन है. Who is doing this? Central government. Causes. Tell me the causes. Don't write anything. Tell me the causes. What? Urbanization, migration. Causes of slums. Unemployment. Lack of money. Poverty, education nahi, is not a, on a high cost of living in the cities. So first, lack of houses in, कहाँ पे lack of houses नहीं है, पैसा नहीं है, houses तो बहुत है, पैसा नहीं है slums वालों के पास, घर तो बहुत है. मुंबई में तो घर रियल एस्टेट खाली पड़ा है. कहीं पे भी वर्ल्ड में स्लम्स, विल ही अ स्लम ड्वेलर बाय अ हाउस इन फ्रंट ऑफ अंबानी? वो कहाँ पे, वो नीचे बिल्डिंग के नीचे झुग्गी में रहेगा. घर तो बहुत है इंडिया में, एनीवेयर द घर तो बहुत है. व्हाट लैक्स इज अफोर्डेबल हाउसिंग, नॉट हाउसिंग. So first, हमेशा स्लम माइग्रेंट से बनेगा. जो लोकल पॉपुलेशन है वो हमेशा उसका घर रहेगा, जमीन होगी, एक्सेट्रा. इसलिए तो फर्स्ट इज इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन. Big industries are located around the cities. Big industries are located around the cities, which create demand for labor. Which create demand for labor. The rural population migrates to the city centers. Rural population migrates to the city center. Creating either slums or squatter settlements. Slums or squatter settlements. Second, rural migration. Accelerated urban growth. Creates a push factor in the rural areas. Third, lack of opportunities in the rural areas. Most of the inhabitants of the slums have agricultural background, and due to the fall in the rural economy, several people migrate towards the cities. सारे linked है एक दूसरे से points. Fourth, poverty. High cost of housing in the urban areas. Forces the people to settle in bastis. Fifth, shortage of cheap housing in the urban areas. Sixth, with the economic reforms and the fall in agriculture, imbalanced regional development has occurred in India. Causing the growth of slums. The decadal growth rate of slums is 23% in India. 23%. And last point, no, how much it increased from 2001 census to 2011 census? It has increased by 23%. Decadal growth rate means when we do decadal in the terms of census, it is always in the terms of census. But good thing is, it has decreased. Earlier it was 24%. And the last point, rapid population growth, very high population growth, especially in the rural India. Very high population growth, especially in the rural India. Next, spatial distribution of slums in India. Spatial distribution of slums in India. First point, out of the total urban population, 30, just a minute. 38% of Indian population, 38% of Indian population lives in slums. of Indian population lives in slums. Area-wise, the largest slums, population-wise, the largest slums are found in Maharashtra, Maharashtra, 18%. Followed by Andhra Pradesh, 15.6%. Andhra Pradesh, 15.6%. West Bengal, 9.8%. West Bengal, 9.8%. एक स्टैटिस्टिक्स चेंज करो. टोटल स्लम पॉपुलेशन इन इंडिया इज 9%, नॉट 38%. Yes. Total population. What I gave, urban population or total? Total urban population. Achha, then it is 38%. Out of total population of India, 9% live in slums. That is 108 million. Out of total population, 9% live in slums. Cancel kar do. Urban population chodo because the data is mixed. Census has not given any data. As the percentage of total urban households, as a percentage of slum population, as a percentage of slum population to the total urban household, percentage of slum population to the total urban household, Andhra Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh have highest number of slum population. Have highest number of slum population. The distribution of slum population in India, distribution of slum population in India, can be shown with the help of following diagram. Can be shown with the help of following diagram. Draw the diagram. Understanding this diagram? In this region, the population of slum is between 1 to 10%. In the major states, the lowest number of slum population is in which state? Major states में यूपी, पंजाब, हरियाणा या बिहार. Prelims का question पूछ रहा हूँ. State having least number of slum population. Bihar, 1.9%. Yes. No data. What? They have their own? Even his state does not entertain the migrants. Yes. Andhra Pradesh. Hyderabad is the only growth pole in Andhra Pradesh. Interstate migration is highest in Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh. Interstate migration. Because see, this entire belt, यहाँ से शुरू होके, and then it enlarges. This entire belt is a drought-prone region which has Telangana. Warangal district, say a line passes. Half part of the Warangal district comes in more than 100 centimeters of rainfall, ISO height. Other half comes in less than 100 centimeters. So it is because of agricultural crisis, Andhra Pradesh has maximum number of slums. And there has not been proper urbanization in Andhra Pradesh. As per WHO का definition, that is a slum. If the house is not having any ventilation, if the house is not having a proper drainage system, then it is a slum. Achha, I have combined it. It should be 10 to 20 and then 20 to 25. Okay, I have combined it. I'll cancel it. Yes. No. Actually, I have combined it. Villages में that is different. Villages will always have ventilation. Villages will always have open surroundings. Villages में that sanitation का problem is different. Slum is totally different. Slum, what is the size of household in the village? Big house. So slum is never big. Some slum is one small room. That is different. Slum is different. Slum is a phenomenon of urbanization, never villages. Villages तो हमेशा घर ऐसे ही रहेंगे, मिट्टी के घर, कच्चा houses. That is a different thing. Fine. जम्मू कश्मीर वाले रीजन में we don't have any data. हिमाचल प्रदेश में it will go to the 1 to 10%. Tourism industry. Tourism industry, Dehradun, Nainital. Yes. सिक्किम में 1 to 10% है स्लम. बहुत ही कम. जलपाईगुड़ी के बाद में जो टच कर रहा है वेस्ट बंगाल को, उधर ही है स्लम्स. The city in India for prelims, remember, which does not have slum is Patna. Right? Patna is the only city in India which does not have slum. ये है डेटा, इसलिए याद रखना है प्रीलिम्स के लिए. मेंस में याद रखने की जरूरत नहीं. यूज द डेटा. इस डेटा से खुश होने की वाली भी बात है. इस डेटा से ये भी बात सब पता लगती है कि nobody migrates to Patna in Bihar. People migrate outside Bihar. Understanding? This is the way of looking at the data. There are no economic opportunities in Patna that people will migrate from the hinterland to Patna and settle in slums. People will migrate outside Bihar. There are large number of slums. But UP is having, if I look at the data, 9.5% of the people live in slums. Nine percent of India is 108 million people live in slums. It is a huge number. Characteristics of Indian slums. Characteristics of Indian slums. Or why I am saying Indian slums? Because this slums is mentioned only in paper 2. Paper 1 में नहीं है slums. Fine? They develop over government land. They develop over government land. Second, most of them have kacha houses. Kacha houses or semi-permanent dwellings. Permanent dwellings. Third, they have poor sanitation. They have poor sanitation. With absence of toilets or very high load on existing toilets. Next, lack basic infrastructure. Lack basic infrastructure such as electricity, connecting roads, sewage facility, mostly next, most people are mostly engaged in tertiary sector. People are mostly engaged in the tertiary sector. People are mostly engaged in the tertiary sector. Next, have very high levels of poverty, malnutrition, poor health, and high inequalities. High inequalities. Most of the population in the Indian slums, belong to backward states. Next, literacy. Studies have shown that in the states such as Kerala, Tripura, slums have very high literacy rate. Kerala and Tripura, very high literacy rate, above bracket में लिखना 90%. Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, West Bengal, Sikkim have literacy rates between 80 to 90%. किसका? Slum population का. Rajasthan, UP, Bihar have literacy rate of less than 70%. Sex ratio. As per 2011 census, see, this is how the answer should be, fine? As per the 2011 census, the general sex ratio of slum population is 928. India का कितना है? 940. General sex ratio of slum population is 928. इंडिया का टोटल है 940, याद रखना. While child sex ratio is 922. Child sex ratio is 922. Is 928. Male female ratio कितना है? 928 females as compared to 1000 males. And child sex ratio is 922. For prelims याद रखना, इंडिया का कितना है sex ratio? 940. General पूरा इंडिया का. And how much is the child sex ratio in India? 918 प्रीलिम्स के लिए. This indicates that it is mostly the male population. This indicates that it is mostly the male population which is migrating from the rural areas to the slums. Next point. The percentage of SC/ST population. The percentage of SC/ST population is 20.3 in slums. Means out of 100 people, 20% will be SC and ST. How much it is for urban India? ये जो मैं नीचे का लिख रहा हूँ वो लिखने की ज़रूरत नहीं. 20% of the or 20.1 or 20.4% of the population is SC/ST in the slums, while 10 or 11% is the SC/ST population in the village, in the urban India. What does it indicate? It indicates that mostly people belonging to the socio-economically backward caste makes the population of the slums. Getting it? This indicates that rural to urban migration in India is attributed to the push factor from the villages. Is attributed to the push factor from the villages. Due to socio-economic conditions. Work participation ratio. Slums are important centers of economic activities. Because 36% of the slum population is engaged in work participation. You can draw this diagram of table. %35% of the urban population works, 41% of the rural population works, 36% of the slum population works. अर्बन में 35% ऑफ द टोटल पॉपुलेशन इज वर्किंग, उस 35% में से 36% इज वर्किंग. Problems of slum. First, याद रखो कहीं तो बिफोर आई राइट द प्रॉब्लम्स ऑफ द स्लम कि मणिपुर, दादरा नगर हवेली, मणिपुर, दादरा नगर हवेली, Lakshadweep, Daman and Diu. Are the four states which do not have slums. कौन से? हाँ, अब तो एक और characteristics of slum before I give. Mostly slums in India are engaged in low cost manufacturing and small scale enterprises. Example, Dharavi is famous for small scale enterprises. Example, Dharavi is famous for leather industry. वुडलैंड वो सब कहाँ मैन्युफैक्चर होता है? इन धारावी. Problems of Indian slums. This is considered to be one of the biggest brands of leather industry. हाई डिजाइन कहाँ पे मैन्युफैक्चर होता है? धारावी. First, problem of space. More than 26% of slums in India. More than the 26% of slums in India. 26% of the slums in India have households having more than 5 members. Having more than 5 members. Second problem, illegal occupation of the land. Third problem, high crime rate and drug abuse. High crime rate and drug abuse. Fourth, they pose serious problem to the administration. because of unemployment, social tension, unemployment, social tension, and environmental pollution. And environmental pollution. Case study. 2005, Mumbai floods were caused due to stopping of natural drainage by slums and plastics. Stopping of natural drainage by slums and plastic. Natural drainage by slums and plastics. Fine. आगे लिखना refer notes. Solutions etc. में I'll give you in the notes. I'll discuss with the notes. Case studies. क्योंकि वो लंबा है solutions. I've given 2-3 editorials in the notes. Fine. We'll start first with the paper 2. Sorry, chapter 1 of paper 2, that is India Physical. Notes में, सब मैं notes में Monday को discuss करूँगा. I'll discuss all the remaining topics. Classification of Indian towns, functional classification of Indian towns, नहीं तो खत्म नहीं होगा ये chapter. So I'll do that on Monday only. Physical geography of India. And कैसे पढ़ोगे इसको? How I am going to teach you? सबसे पहले look at the syllabus of this paper. Space relationship of India with neighboring countries. So what does this topic mean? The space relationship of India with the neighboring countries. That how do we share the boundary with Pakistan? How do we share boundary with China? What are uska challenges? What are uska issues? Etc. Second, structure and relief. Structure and relief mein Himalayas, Peninsula Plateau and Great Plains. Third, drainage system and watershed. Rivers, Himalayan rivers, Peninsular rivers. Himalayan rivers में the 3 rivers etc. Now GS में you study each and everything in detail the same ways we are going to study this chapter. The only thing is यहाँ पे we'll be focusing on answer writing rather than on factual data. I'll teach you in both the ways. I'll tell you how the different river systems are, where they originate, but ये सब कुछ चीज़ें याद नहीं रखनी है. आपको सिर्फ answers लिखने हैं. Physiographic regions of India. It is the same. Physiographic region and the structure and relief is the same. Mechanism of Indian monsoon and rainfall pattern. We have done this. Fine. Tropical cyclones and western disturbances. We have done this. Tropical cyclones we will have to yet do. Floods and droughts. Climatic regions of India. Natural vegetation in India. Soil types and their distribution. Except for climatic regions. ये सब आप GS में पढ़ते हो as it is. Except for the climatic regions. What you don't study in GS is Köppen's classification of India, Thornwhite's classification of India, etc. Fine. The same chapter, I'm going to do this 2 chapters simultaneously. Ecological issues, environmental hazards, landslides, earthquakes in India, tsunamis in India, floods and droughts in India, as it is repeated here. Epidemics, issues related to the environmental pollution. ये पहला part as well as the first chapter will be done simultaneously. Fine. We'll then start with the This is the topic of the first chapter जो सबसे late होगा, space relationship of India with neighboring countries, because इसके साथ साथ we are going to do this chapter, that is the political aspect, geographical basis of Indian federalism, state, regional consciousness, international boundary of India and related issues. These are the same overlapping topics. Look at the past year questions of physiography of India and have a general view of how they are going to ask you the questions. Come to the chapter wise description. Distinguish the geographical aspects of northwestern lava plateau and the Chota Nagpur plateau of the peninsular India. Means 8 बजे 27-29, I am starting from the end part. Distinguish the geographical aspects of northwest lava plateau and the Chota Nagpur plateau of the peninsular India. Now, what is the northwestern lava plateau in India? Northwestern. उसमें सब कुछ आएगा, महाराष्ट्र प्लाटू, मालवा प्लाटू, गुजरात का काठियावाड़ रीजन. So they are asking you to difference between the Chota Nagpur plateau and the Maharashtra plateau. उससे पहले explain the unusual intensity of the dust storms and thunderstorms in India in the pre-monsoon period of 2018. Drainage pattern in the peninsular in India is the result of its geographical structure and topography. Now, how is the drainage pattern in the peninsular India? Are the rivers antecedent or superimposed? Superimposed. Are the regions in the rivers in the youthful stage or the mature stage? They are in the mature stage. Fine. Do they meander a lot? No. Why? Because it flows through the rocks. So questions are very simple from this region. Justify the inclusion of Meghalaya in the peninsular India and discuss its vegetation and soil type. Now, why Meghalaya is a part of peninsular India? Because it is a part of peninsular plateau. Geographically, it is a part of peninsular plateau, which is separated from the mainland peninsular plateau by Rajmahal Garo Gap or my Malda Fault. GS, you must have studied this, fine, by Malda Fault. And how is uska soil? Does Meghalaya receive very, very heavy rainfall? Yes. So what kind of soil it will be? Laterite soil due to leaching. What will be the vegetation? Predominantly tropical evergreen forest. Give फिर से एक क्वेश्चन मॉनसून पे. Give the recent account of unusual pattern of distribution of the monsoon rainfall in 2017. So अगले साल भी ये क्वेश्चन आ सकता है. 2019 क्या हुआ था in 2019? Unusual. Retreating monsoon was stronger. फिर से वही क्वेश्चन. Describe the distribution of black soil in India and their specific use for agriculture. So where we have the black soil, where we have the northwestern lava plateau or the lava plateau in India, and what is their specific use? Cotton cultivation, sugarcane cultivation. Discuss the role of spatial pattern of rainfall and temperature in delimitation of the climatic regions in India with reference to stamp. ये direct question है. Mention the space relationship of India with the neighboring countries. Explain the shifting of river course and river capture in the Himalayas. How does natural vegetation affect the formation of in situ soils? That is the effect of natural vegetation on soil. Write a short note on western disturbances. Yeah, explain the pattern of winter rainfall in India. A problem आता है ये question. Describe the salient climatological characteristics of Rayalaseema region. कभी कभी ऐसा bouncer आता है. What you should do? If you don't know, you will have to leave this question. Fine? Rayalaseema, particular they have. Bring out the distribution of laterite soils in India. How is drainage pattern? Mechanism of monsoon. Tropical and structural characteristics of Shivalik. फिर से stamp का climatic classification. फिर से Deccan Plateau. Comparative analysis of Himalayan and peninsular rivers and examine their implications on irrigation system of the country. Natural vegetation, Himalayan orogeny. Don't go further back. I just want you to know कि उनका areas are decided. They are going to ask you a question on Deccan Lava Plateau. They are going to ask you a question on the soils, laterite soil or black soil. They are not going to ask you a question on the Great Plains. Fine? They are going to ask you a question, Great Plains के लिए they have enough scope in agriculture. They are going to ask you हर साल question on monsoon and कभी-कभी question on the formation of the Himalayas. Let us look at this year's paper. स्टैम्प का क्लासिफिकेशन आसान है. Why is Indian monsoon erratic in nature? As it is syllabus में से questions आएंगे. Discuss how watershed management has become a tool in eradication of the poverty in India. It was even in GS, it was even in optional. Discuss the rainfall pattern and correlate with the spatial distribution of natural vegetation in India. Discuss the political aspects of Himalaya. Explain how it has affected geostrategy, geopolitics and regional consciousness of Indian federalism. Present the salient features of west flowing rivers in India. Discuss the problems of wildlife conservation and management in India. Current affairs tha, examine the problems of glacial lake outburst flood in India. That is due to global warming. There was a melting of glacier, melting of third pole was in the news. वहाँ से question आ गया. What can be the problems? Interbasin linkages of the river are more feasible economically, socially and ecologically. Discuss with the suitable examples from India. Now I wanted to discuss question number 6. सबसे पहले देखा कि entire paper 2 में first chapter में से एक question आने ही वाला है. Whether it is question number 5, whether it is question number 6, whether it is question number 7, whether it is question number 8, whether it is question number 1. 1 में भी था question, 2 में भी था question, 3 में भी था question, 4 में भी था, 5 में भी था, 6 में भी था. Is this question, what is the demand of the question? Tell me. Is this question on interlinking of the rivers in India? No. Interlinking of the rivers is negative. It is on the interbasin linkages of the river. उन्होंने पूछा है कि critically examine करना ही नहीं है, आपको prove करना है why it is good. Why it is more feasible economically, socially and ecologically. किसको critically examine करना है? Interlinking को. ये है क्वेश्चन ऑन द वाटरशेड मैनेजमेंट कि गंगा के डिफरेंट बेसिन्स को आप कैसे लिंक करोगे. हाउ यू विल लिंक देम विद द हेल्प ऑफ कनाल, हाउ विल लिंक देम विद द हेल्प ऑफ कमांड एरिया डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम एक्सेट्रा. फाइन. जीएस में ही हमने किया है. नॉर्थ इंडियन सिटीज, 3 रीजन्स. That is agricultural land, continental type of climate, therefore winter season में the air comes down and temperature inversion. What happens in the winter season? There is a temperature inversion, there is a fog, there is lack of wind. कहाँ पे? North India में या peninsular India में? North. So this is your homework. You write and show it to me on Monday. Fine, this answer. लिख पाओगे? Peninsular Indian cities have daily wind system. North Indian cities on other hand do not have a wind system. North Indian cities have continental location and therefore they have extremes of climate. So during the winter season there is cold air subsides, causes temperature inversion. Temperature inversion causes fog and smogs. Second, the North Indian cities are surrounded by agricultural lands and therefore the problem of stubble burning. Third, the North Indian cities are during the winter season have western disturbances, that is the subtropical westerly jet stream which takes the pollutants from the Pakistan region, from the northwest India into the North Indian cities. And therefore, इसमें ये मत लिखना गाड़ियाँ बहुत ज़्यादा है, ये सब ज़्यादा है. Fine? Geographical points. Altitudinal and spatial geo-environmental hazards in the Himalayas. So what are the don't go by the words. What are the hazards in the Himalayas? Landslides, avalanches, floods, earthquakes, cloudburst. So altitudinal, avalanches and landslides in the steep slopes. Spatial, Eastern Himalayas versus Western Himalayas. So Eastern Himalayas have problem of landslides, floods as well as avalanches, while Western Himalayas have the problems of only avalanches. उत्तराखंड से सेंट्रल एंड ईस्टर्न हिमालयस फ्लड्स, वेस्टर्न हिमालयस में फ्लड्स नहीं है. जम्मू कश्मीर फ्लड इज नॉट हिमालय के कारण फ्लड्स, लैंडस्लाइड्स है सब जगह. रीजंस प्लेट मार्जिन्स, सेकंड रीजन स्टीप स्लोप, थर्ड रीजन वेरी हेवी रेनफॉल, फोर्थ रीजन इज डेवलपमेंटल एक्टिविटीज. टूरिज्म पूरा पेपर करंट अफेयर्स बेस्ड है, optional paper 2, and it is so easy that just you have to write the answer. India is emerging as a global power in relation to Indian Ocean realm. Examine. I have not yet discussed. Is India really emerging as a global power? आपको elaborate करने बोला है, आपको criticize करने नहीं बोला है, तो आपको बताना है yes it is emerging as a global power, right? Don't go against the demand of the question. Elaborate बोला है, not examine. Had it been examined, then you would have criticized. But it is elaborate. Yes, India is a global power because it is located on the international trade route. It has a major polymetallic nodules, that is Indian Ocean realm region. It is one of the biggest stable economy and democracy in this region. Fine. But there are challenges from China. Bas. Yes, obviously, लाना ही है. Yes. यस ये लाना ही है, पेपर 1 पूरा लाना है पेपर 2 में. गेटिंग इट? डोंट राइट एनीथिंग, जस्ट अंडरस्टैंड हियर द स्टोरी. प्रेजेंट डे इंडिया. It consists of Himalayas, that is the northern mountains. It consists of the Great Plains, and it consists of the peninsular plateau. Peninsular plateau is divided into mountains and plateaus. So mountains is Aravallis, Vindhyas, Satpuras, Western Ghats, Eastern Ghats. Plateaus are Kathiawad plateau, Maharashtra plateau, Karnataka plateau, Telangana Rayalaseema plateau, Chota Nagpur plateau, Chhattisgarh plains. कुछ भी सिलेबस के बाहर का नहीं, उन्होंने आपको महाराष्ट्र प्लाटू एंड रायलसीमा प्लाटू पे पूछा है. एवरीथिंग इज इन द सिलेबस. एंड मेघालय प्लाटू. व्हाई वी नो मेघालय प्लाटू? बिकॉज ऑफ द रॉक स्ट्रक्चर इन इंडिया. नाउ looking at the rock structure in India, and it consists of the plains, that is the coastal plains. Looking at the rock structure in India, this is rocks are of tertiary origin, that is the youngest rocks. पूरा स्टोरी है, सुन लो, लिखो कुछ भी मत. फाइन. मेरा प्रिंटेड नोट्स रेडी है, पहले स्टोरी सुनो, then I will share the printed notes. I don't want you to first look at the printed notes and then get confused. Plains in India are of recent origin, that is most of the plains in India belong to the Pleistocene era, that is after the Pleistocene area, and these are very old. So we call this rocks as Archean rocks. Why Archean rocks? Because these are the oldest rocks in the world. Getting it? Either they are Archean rocks or they are Vindhyan sediments. Now when we look at the rock structure in India, so this is what is the present day India. Now the background is plate tectonic theory. The background is the continental drift theory. The background is there was an Asia. In between the Asia there was the Tethys Sea or the Tethys geosyncline. Fine? And there was peninsular India, which consisted of Aravallis, the present day peninsular India, and the eastern and the western Ghats. That is, this was how the peninsular India was, which consisted of the Aravallis and the Garo, Khasi, Jaintia hill region, and Mikir Ringma and the rest part of the peninsular India. As Indian plate moved northwards, there were large scale changes in the Indian plate. What were the kind of the changes? It was initially a rock. And what was this rock? This, how the rocks are made. What is the first kind of rock that is found in the world? The first kind of rock that is found in the world is always igneous rock. It is made from the volcanic eruption. So the entire peninsular plateau was a plateau which was made up of igneous rock, and generally this igneous rock was granite. समझो, समझ में आ रहा है सबको? The igneous rock was granite. This granite over the period of time, due to metamorphosis, because any rock undergoes change, got converted into uska metamorphic form, that is gneiss. Fine? Similarly, when the India was passing, it went through different ages. Kuch pre-Cambrian era, Cambrian era, Carboniferous era, different type of ages, jisme climate went from cold to warm. Cold to warm. There was rise in the sea level, there was fall in the sea level. There was rise and fall. And as a result of this, many parts of India went under the water. For example, this part of India went under the water. And under the water, most of the rock got broken into small sediments, and it resulted into formation of the shale rocks. Getting it? जो नीस था, it got broken, पानी के नीचे रह के it got converted into shale. Over the period of the time, this shale has got metamorphosed into schists. अब shale कहाँ पे था? Shale was found in the छोटा geosynclines of India. Now what was this? One, this was a very big geosyncline, but India is an outcome of numerous plates, and there were smaller geosynclines in India, and one such geosyncline in India was Eastern Ghats. Eastern Ghats are the fold mountains, same like Aravallis. They are the fold mountains, same like Himalayas. The only thing is, Aravalli is the oldest. Fine? You went to Jaipur trip. Aravallis की height देखी? ज़्यादा लगी, कम लगी? कम लगी. Because they are the oldest. क्या दिखा वहाँ पे? मिट्टी दिखी या rock दिखा? सबसे ज़्यादा क्या दिखा? टूटा था तो मिट्टी थी या rock था? रॉक था, मिट्टी थी? क्योंकि मैंने जितने भी देखे सब रॉक था. तो फिर रॉक था, या गाने ही गा रहे थे सिर्फ बस में? कहां पे दिखा रॉक? रॉक ही था. फाइन. नाउ मोस्ट ऑफ इट इज रॉक बिकॉज इट डिड नॉट गेट इरोडेड. फाइन. एंड दिस इज दैट रॉक इज जनरली नीस. ज्योग्राफी वालों को ले जाना चाहिए था वो मेरे से गलती हो गई, क्या करें उसको. तुम लोग रैंक निकालो और तुम लोग मेरे को घुमाने ले चलो कहीं अच्छी जगह. रैंक निकाल के दोनों मेल फीमेल अच्छी डाउरी लो, 10% मेरे अकाउंट में डाल दो और मैं घूमूंगा डाउरी लेने के बाद. फाइन. बाकी ये मॉरल्स, एथिक्स वो सब पेपर में ही लिखो, कुछ नहीं होने वाला इन सब से चीजों से. So come back to this. So India was moving upwards. So most of the part of India got converted into gneiss and schist. Now this gneiss and schist which is present in India, the original Archean gneiss and schist was present in all the peninsular India, including the Gujarat region, Aravallis, including Vindhyas and Satpuras, including Maharashtra Plateau region, including the Meghalaya. Fine. So we find the rock Archean gneiss and schist in the peninsular plateau, and we find the similar kind of rock in Meghalaya, which shows that Meghalaya is geologically a part of peninsular plateau. The question is answered. What is the criteria or justify the inclusion of Meghalaya plateau as the part of peninsular India? Getting it? Now as the Indian plate started moving upwards, some part of the Indian plate went below the sea, and as a result of this, the second kind of rock structure started forming in India, which was formed over the existing rock structure, and this rock structure which started forming in India is what is found in the Chota Nagpur Plateau, what is found in the Eastern Ghats, to some extent it is found in Vindhyas, to some extent it is found in Satpuras. And these are known as the Vindhyan sediments. Or Kadapa rock system. Now what is the difference? सबसे पहले the oldest rock in India is the Archean gneiss schist. उसके बाद the next rock in India is the Kadapa system, and the third kind of rock in India is the Vindhyan sediments. कहाँ पे था India? India थोड़ा ऊपर आ गया था during that time. So India came थोड़ा northwards during that time, and it resulted into formation of a new rock system in India over the existing rock system of Archean gneiss and schist, and they are known as Kadapa and Vindhyan sediments. So what is present in the Kadapa rock system? Kadapa rock system is unique in the sense कि like the Archean rock system, it has metallic minerals. Archean rock system is the oldest rock, that is why I asked her the question, क्या दिखा वहाँ पे? Rock. That rock has not been eroded. In spite of it being the oldest mountain in the world, it has not been eroded because it has the dominance of metallic minerals. Similarly, the Kadapa rock system in India has the dominance of metallic minerals. Plus, like the new Vindhya system, there is a dominance of non-metallic minerals which are used for building materials. Our second question, Rayalaseema region ka, what are the characteristics of the rocks? Getting it? कि Kadapa, everything is from the story only. जितने भी हमने अब तक क्वेश्चन देखे उसको सिर्फ इलैबोरेट करना है कि what do you find there, and then geographically you have to look at what is the rainfall pattern of the Rayalaseema region, etc. And third, जहाँ से अभी तक क्वेश्चन नहीं आया है, is the Vindhyan sediments. The Vindhyan sediments are unique in the sense that Vindhyan sediments do not have metallic minerals, but peninsular India का ही part है. Why they are known as Vindhyan sediments? Because mostly Vindhyas and Satpuras are made up of this rock system. So नाम लिया गया from the Vindhyan sediments. फिर से I am revising. Original rock, Archean gneiss and schist. उसके बाद Kadapa and Vindhyan system. And then India थोड़ा ऊपर आते गया. When India came somewhere near the Mauritius region, it came under the hotspot which is known as the Reunion hotspot. And there was a continuous, in the Cretaceous period when the earth was cooling, there was a continuous volcanic eruption in the Reunion hotspot which resulted into northwestern part of India coming under the fissure type of eruption which resulted into horizontal flow of lava. Now because it was an basaltic lava, it covered a large distance. It was not a granitic lava. क्यों basaltic lava? Because hotspots always originate from the oceans. Geomorphology याद करो, hotspots because they originate from the oceans, basalt निकलेगा. If the volcano is originating from the land, granite निकलेगा. Because they are originating from the oceans, it resulted into large scale volcanic eruption which covered a large part of India, which gave rise to the Deccan lava plateau. Over the period of time, Deccan lava plateau in the northern part of India was vanished. It was eroded, but we have some remaining part of the Deccan lava plateau. Original 10 lakh square kilometer, today it is 5 lakh square kilometer, and it is spread in the state of Madhya Pradesh where it is known as Malwa plateau. It is spread in the state of Gujarat where it is known as Saurashtra plateau. It is spread in the state of Maharashtra where it is known as Maharashtra plateau, and it includes northern Karnataka also. Over the period of time, the erosion of this Deccan lava plateau has given rise to the black soil, and black soil has a dominance of clay. Now what is the property of the clay? Clay will become wet, moist, and it will close, but when it becomes dry, it will open in big cracks. So the black soil ki property is, when it is wet, it has the tendency to absorb moisture or retain moisture. But when it is dry, it has the tendency to open in big cracks. The tendency to absorb moisture, fortunately in this dry zone farming region or the drought prone region, supports the growth of agricultural crops, especially the crops which are fibrous or which are cash crops because they require more water. Also the tendency to open up in big cracks supports the aeration of the soil, that is the air can go deep inside the soil, increasing the fertility of the soil. And therefore, this is the region of cash crops in India. Cotton, oilseeds, cotton and tobacco, millets, ragi, this and sugarcane. This is the region of the black soil in India. Then India came, and India first collided with the Eurasia. As India came and collided with the Eurasia, what initially happened is all the sediments of the Tethys Sea were folded to give rise to batholiths, huge batholiths. Batholiths means huge rocks, volcanic rocks, जो आज है Trans-Himalayas. Right? There is saying that Trans-Himalayas are not mountainous. Some people say yes, Trans-Himalayas are mountains. क्या है actually? The sediments of the Tethys Sea which were folded to give rise to the Trans-Himalayas, which are volcanic in origin, tertiary fold mountains. And then Indian plate came and collided with the Eurasian plate to give rise to the Himalayas in the tertiary period, in the recent period. 3 बार collision हुआ to give rise to the 3 ranges of the Himalayas, that is the Great Himalayas, Middle Himalayas and the Shivaliks. Now coming to the question, why Shivaliks pe hi question kyun? There will never be a question on the Great and the Middle Himalayas. There will be question on Karevas, there will be question on dunes, there will be question on Shivaliks. Now what is the Shivaliks? As the Great Himalayas and the Middle Himalayas were formed, देखो ये GS में हम इतना detail में नहीं जाते, so be attentive. As the Great and the Middle Himalayas were formed, large scale rivers originating from the Himalayas started depositing the sediments in the zone of contact, subduction zone. Actually it is not a subduction zone, in the zone of contact between the Indian plate and the Eurasian plate. So if this is the Eurasian plate and if this is the Indian plate, so large scale sediments were deposited here, and ye hai Great Himalayas, ye hai Middle Himalayas. But the Indian plate is still going below the Eurasian plate, and therefore the part of the Great Plains started getting folded. As the part of the Great Plains started getting folded, they gave rise to low-lying hills which are known as Shivaliks. Actually, what are Shivaliks? Shivaliks are a part of Great Plains which have been folded. And just like on any plains, Shivaliks may be fertile soil hai, which is known as dunes and duars. And just like any plains, Shivalik may be talab hai, lakes hai, which are known as tals. Nainital, Bhimtal, etc. Fine? Height of the Shivalik is still rising, and then abhi bhi Shivaliks hai. When the Shivaliks are being formed, numerous rivers are still depositing the sediments to give rise to the Pleistocene era ka soil formation, which is known as the Great Plains of India. Now, when the rivers are coming down from the hills in the Great Plains, they are depositing big sediments, then smaller sediments, then smaller sediments, then smaller sediments, and then smaller sediments, giving rise to Bhabar and Tarai region. Getting it? Tarai, the sediments are smaller, Bhabar, the sediments are larger. Getting it? Similarly, rivers are flowing through U-shaped valleys. Sorry. Rivers are flowing through U-shaped valleys in the Great Plains. Now, based on the amount of sediments that have been deposited, हमने ये geomorphology में किया है. There are some old sediments, there are some new sediments. The old sediments are known as Bangar, the new sediments are known as Khadar. So this is the region of the fertile soil which is renewed every year, and this is the physical setting of India. Getting it? Now coming to the, because इसके साथ साथ ही मैं space relationship and geographical basis of Indian federalism करने वाला हूँ. So tell me, what is the meaning of federalism? Federalism is a mode of political organization that unites separate states or polities with an overarching political system in a way that allows each to maintain its own integrity. That means it is nothing but in which there is one central unit and there are several state units. Depending upon the federalism, there can be a proper federalism USA in which states as well as the central government has equal rights, or there can be Indian and Canadian model of unitary federalism, fine, where the central government has more power as compared to the state government, right? So the geographical basis of Indian federalism, that is India is divided into numerous states. Now what are the geographical basis of Indian federalism? The geographical basis, in India there are two bases of federalism. One is the geographical basis and the other is the linguistic basis. But if we look, language and geography is always interlinked, because a particular climate, a particular soil, a particular locality, etc. will influence a particular geography. So when this huge political entity known as India was created, geography played an important role in determining the federal units, right from the British Raj era to the Freedom Point ka era. And based on this geography, the states, if this is now my present India, remember this is not present in any of the books, the kind of the answer examiner will want except in R.C. Tiwari. Indian geography का ये challenge है. Human geography, population geography, settlement geography के लिए best book is Majid Hussain. Fine. Diagrams के लिए बहुत अच्छा book है Majid Hussain. Physical geography के लिए best book is खुल्लर और R.C. तिवारी. अब आप कितना पढ़ोगे? जब क्वेश्चंस मैंने आपको दिखाए कि कोई भी स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड क्वेश्चन नहीं आने वाला, सो दिस बुक्स बिकम यूजलेस. फाइन. नाउ व्हेन वी लुक एट द ज्योग्राफिकल बेसिस ऑफ इंडियन फेडरलिज्म, एक है हिमालयस. फाइन. इन द हिमालयस देयर आर थ्री पार्ट्स. ग्रेटर, दैट इज द प्रॉपर हिमालयन रेंजेस. द सेकंड इज द नॉर्थ ईस्टर्न हिल कॉम्प्लेक्स and the one is the Trans-Himalayas. So geographical basis of Indian federalism is the land between the Himalayas and the Trans-Himalayas becomes Ladakh province. The land between the Trans-Himalayas and the Great Himalayas becomes Kashmir. हमें आंसर थोड़ा चेंज करना पड़ेगा, because unfortunately or fortunately in your time you can say a new state, new UT has been created. So now we will have to separate in our answer what is the identity of Ladakh. पहले तो एक ही state था, Jammu and Kashmir. So what is the identity of Ladakh? Why geography and culture, linguistic patterns play an important role? Because Ladakh is predominantly Buddhist and second religion of Ladakh is Islam. It is mostly Islamic. And then we have Jammu, which is lying in the Shivaliks and the Middle Himalayas. After the Middle Himalayas, we have Jammu. So this is one geographical basis of Indian federalism. The second geographical basis of Indian federalism is the states with the religious minority and the states with the majority of population have been divided. The majority of the population, the state is divided into Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Sikkim, alag population hai, Arunachal Pradesh. Now coming to the next geographical basis of Indian federalism. Himachal Pradesh geographically was a part of Punjab. But because it was an Himalayan state, it was separated from the plain state of India, Punjab, and created a new state, that is the Himachal Pradesh. Similarly, Uttarakhand was a part of UP, but the Himalayan part of UP was separated and created in the Uttarakhand region. Getting it? Similarly, there is a demand from the Darjeeling region, that is the West Bengal region, to give itself as a political entity, new political state, but it has been given autonomous state in the tribal region. The zone in the northeast where all the three Himalayas combined is the state of Arunachal Pradesh. The zone in the northeast where Naga hills are there is the state of Nagaland. The zone in the northeast where Manipur hills are there is the state of Manipur. The zone in the northeast where the Mizo hills are there is the state of Mizoram. The zone in the northeast which lies in the delta region is the Tripura. And the zone in the northeast which lies in the Brahmaputra valley, Brahmaputra plains, is Assam. Fine? This is the geographical basis of Indian federalism. Even like any plains, Indian plains, the Great Plains can be divided into youth in the middle course and the old age. So the middle course of a river is the state of UP. while the old age is of the river is the state of Bihar and West Bengal. Fine. West Bengal is predominantly a region of Ganga delta, while the Bihar is the start of the old age. The region which is semi-arid in nature and has no rivers is the state of Haryana. The region which is semi-arid in nature but has 5 rivers is the state of Punjab. And the state which is totally arid in nature is the state of Rajasthan. Even based on the aridity, if the aridity is due to the lack of rainfall, it is the state of Rajasthan, but the aridity is due to the coming up of the sea, it is the Kutch region of Gujarat. The Gujarat has been divided geographically into 2 parts. One is the Kutch, which is the part of the Great Plains, and the other is the Kathiawar, which is the region of black soil. Fine? So ये plains का हो गया, Himalayas का हो गया geographical basis, plains का हो गया. Similarly, the geographical basis of Indian federalism is greatly seen in the peninsular India, because as the geography changes, states change. Example, the central highlands, the central part of the highlands, which is known as the Madhya Bharat Pathar, is the today's state of MP. The part of the central highlands which has a depression, which has a basin, has been separated from the MP and given the state of Chhattisgarh. The part of the plains, but part of the peninsular plateau, which initially was part of a Bihar, has been separated and become the state of Jharkhand. Chhattisgarh, why it was separated from Madhya Pradesh? What is the difference in geography? Difference in geography is Madhya Pradesh is highland, Chhattisgarh is a lowland. Difference of Jharkhand and Bihar, Bihar is a plain, Jharkhand is a peninsular plateau. UP is a plain, Uttarakhand is a Himalayas. Getting it? Similarly, the region of tertiary rocks, of the Gondwana rocks, which were below the river, is the state of Jharkhand, Chota Nagpur Plateau region, which is divided into Ranchi Plateau and the Hazaribagh Plateau. The region of Kadapa rocks is either Telangana and Rayalaseema. Telangana, Rayalaseema and Andhra Pradesh, Kadapa rock system. But based on the climatic variation, 100 centimeter ISO height line greater than 100 centimeter of rainfall becomes the state of Rayalaseema and Andhra Pradesh, less than 100 centimeters of rainfall becomes the state of Telangana. The region of Archean rock system, the oldest rocks in the world, is the state of Karnataka. The region of the black soil is the state of Maharashtra, mostly Maharashtra. And totally plain region is either the state of Tamil Nadu or West Bengal. Understood? This is what is the geographical basis of Indian federalism. Fine? So, why? Because geography changes the language, culture, climatic pattern, etc. I had told you much earlier, जहाँ पे climate is rough, people will be rough. जहाँ पे the climate is very great, the soil is very fertile, the people will be soft in nature. Getting it? For example, you see how they speak Hindi in Lucknow and how they speak Hindi in Haryana. Getting it? Reason is totally climatic. Jitna rough climate, utna people have to be straightforward, utna people are more, getting it? Authority. They show more authority. Jitna soft climate, jitna fertile climate, the people will be more soft in nature. If you think Haryanvis are rough, go and see Finnish people, Finland ke people, fine? या Sweden के people. जितना rough वो होते हैं उतना rough कोई नहीं होता. या Australian people. Australians are also very rough. It is totally climate. British का climate is considered to be the best climate. American, we cannot say anything because America is the country which does not have any culture and history. It is made up of migrants. Yes, there are numerous spatial variations in America. So if you look at the rock system in India, oldest to youngest, the rock system in India is divided into Archean rock system, Purana rock system, Dravidian rock system, and the Aryan rock system. Fine? Archean because it is the oldest rock in the world. Purana rock system, uske baad Dravidian rock system and the Aryan rock system. Now, what is the Archean rock system? It is the oldest rock system in the world. And it is further divided into Archean gneiss and schist and Dharwar sediments. पिछले साल तक ये मैं जीएस में भी पढ़ाता था, अब इस साल से ये मैं जीएस में पढ़ाना बंद कर दिया because it is not required in GS. I guess I have taught you this in QEP. Purana rock system in India is divided into Kadapa system, and Vindhyan sediments. Dravidian rock system is divided into numerous systems, जिसके हमें ज़रूरत नहीं. Aryan rock system in India is divided into Deccan lava plateau, उसके बाद Gondwana rocks, उसके बाद tertiary rocks, that is the Himalayas, and after that Great Plains. Understood this entire story? Oldest Archean rocks and schist. So 2-3 points. First, structure of India. Geologically, India can be divided into a region of one ancient shield or craton, peninsular plateau. Second, region of tertiary young fold mountains. And third, region of Great Plains. In the bracket, Pleistocene sediments. Now what is meant by craton in geography? Craton is a plateau region which is made up of the toughest rocks in the world. So India mein which is the plateau region? It is the peninsular plateau. So one point, next point. The Indian craton was a part of Pangaea. Indian craton was a part of Pangaea, with the western portion attached to Madagascar. Western portion attached to Madagascar. And the eastern portion attached to Australia. Eastern portion attached to Australia. Around 100 million years ago, around 100 million years ago, the Indian plate started moving northwards. Indian plate started moving northwards. This Indian plate was composed of Aravalis, Garo Khasi Jaintia, Mikir and Ringma Hills, This region was dominated by presence of Archean rock system, belonging to the Precambrian era. You can draw this diagram. Can I continue? In the next phase of development, Archean rocks were weathered Archean rocks were weathered to give rise to the first sedimentary rocks of the world. First sedimentary rocks of the world, known as Dharwar sediments. क्यों नाम है धारवाड़ sediments? Because they were first studied in the Dharwar district of Karnataka. ये prelims के लिए याद रखना. To give rise to Dharwar sediments. अब Dharwar is a district in Karnataka. Fine. So सबसे पहले ये Archean rock था. You look here. It is Archean gneiss and schist. But over the period of time, this Archean gneiss and schist got weathered away to form the first sedimentary rocks in the world. And these are known as Dharwar sediments, but both are the part of Archean system. So these are the first sedimentary rocks in the world, first time studied in the Karnataka region, in the Dharwar district, and therefore we call them as Dharwar sediments. So full stop के बाद, this rocks today are in highly metamorphic forms. In highly metamorphic forms. In highly metamorphic forms. Third point. In the late Proterozoic era, in the late Proterozoic period, not era, Proterozoic period, due to humid climates, large amount of sediments were deposited. In Kadapa and Vindhyan basins. In the Kadapa and Vindhyan basins. Full stop. Over the period of time, these basins were uplifted. To give rise to Kadapa system, and the Vindhyan system. Kadapa system and the Vindhyan system. Understanding? In the period between 570 million years ago to 24.5 million years ago. 570 million years ago to 24.5 million years ago. Period between 570. In the नहीं direct लिखना the period between next point the period between 570 million years ago to 24.5 million years ago, rocks were formed in the extrapeninsular region. Rocks were formed in the extrapeninsular regions. In the extrapeninsular region. And the last point, during the later part of Carboniferous period, during the later part of the Carboniferous period, to the present times, Indian landmass collided with the Eurasian plate. Indian landmass collided with the Eurasian plate. Majority of the northwestern part of Indian peninsula, point wise likhna, majority of northwestern part of Indian peninsula went below the water, to give rise to Gondwana rock system, northeastern part of Indian peninsula went below the water, not northwestern, northeastern part of Indian peninsula went below the water to give rise to the Gondwana rock system. देखो ये है नॉर्थ ईस्टर्न पार्ट ऑफ द इंडियन पेनिनसुला, ये इंडिया है, ये नॉर्थ ईस्टर्न पार्ट है. ऐसा नहीं कि हिमालयस वेर फॉर्म्ड ओनली इन द टर्शियरी पीरियड, फाइनल हिमालयस वेर फॉर्म्ड इन द टर्शियरी पीरियड, बट उसका फॉर्मेशन स्टार्टेड राइट फ्रॉम द कार्बोनिफरस पीरियड टिल द टर्शियरी पीरियड. सो जब पहला कोलिजन हुआ तो देयर वाज रिफ्ट एंड इट वेंट बिलो द वाटर. एज इट वेंट बिलो द वाटर, पीछे से इंडिया क्रैक हुआ, एंड एज इंडिया क्रैक फ्रॉम बिहाइंड, मैग्मा ऊपर आया, गिविंग राइज टू डेक्कन लावा प्लाटो. अंडरस्टैंडिंग? सो नेक्स्ट पॉइंट इसमें, during the Cretaceous period, as the Gondwana land broke, flood basalt. Why flood basalt? क्योंकि lava spread like flood. Flood basalt eruption led to the formation of Deccan traps. Next point, during the tertiary period, the formation of Himalayas took place. While during the Quaternary period, the Great Plains in India were formed. During the Quaternary period, the Great Plains in India were formed. full stop. This is the evolution of India in 200 words. वो सेपरेट आएगा, फिर तो आंसर कंप्लीट ही नहीं होगा. अब फिजियोग्राफी में वेस्टर्न घाट्स अलग से, ईस्टर्न घाट्स अलग से, शिवालिक्स अलग से, दैट इज विल कम इन फिजियोग्राफी. When we do geology, it is an overall idea of India. Getting it? Fine. Vindhyan sediments, Kadapa and Vindhyan sediments. Eastern Ghats are fold mountains, Western Ghats are escarpment. We'll meet on Monday with this chapter.